for this week, there's been a lot in the news, but nothing bigger than this Lizzo scandal. Tell me what is happening? What exactly is happening here? Because you recently went. We're filming in Australia.
Yes.
And you recently went to watch Lizzo, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
it was good. You enjoyed it?
It was a fantastic show.
It's about that time, yeah.
It is about that damn time, indeed. But what I couldn't help but notice, and I went with my sister, I kept saying to her the whole entire time, I'm like, she seems a bit off. She seems like something is bothering her, something is troubling her, and she was quite not the usual, I guess, performative self. Like, she wasn't hiding it either.
Yep.
And so the crowd was trying to G her up and support her. And she would often say, like, you know, you don't know how much I need this right now. Like, I do this for you, the fans. Like, you guys are like, you help me and all that stuff.
All the usual bravado. So it looked like
yeah.
she knew it was happening at that time. It looked
in
like.
hindsight, that is what was going down.
Yeah.
And it was reflected as well potentially in the 60 Minutes interview that she had as well. I haven't seen it yet, but there was talk of that she inferred that this was going down and was starting to kind of form, I guess, the defense and her statement in response to the allegations.
Fair enough. So tell me what exactly is happening. There's been a lot of reports, but take it away.
I will do my best to summarize everything that has gone down.
Yeah.
So, reputable source, TMZ.
TMZ is a reputable source.
Mate, that was a favorite, like, moment, throwback to my childhood, right?
Well,
after
watching
university. After university, come back home, watch some TMZ. But basically, they had about 2 out of the, I feel like it's now 5 or 6 people have come out putting a lawsuit against Lizzo. They interviewed 2 of the former backup dancers.
Yep.
And we're talking through, I guess, what's the case that's being put across. Their lawyer was also present. And they had talked about their experience kind of working with Lizzo. There's allegations of favoritism, peer pressure, exertion of power, fear-mongering, wrongful termination based on weight gain, and accusations of unprofessionalism, sexual harassment.
And toxic work environment.
It's a pretty stacked...
Look at that allegation. You might as well throw it all out there. What else you got?
Yeah. So it doesn't look good. On top of that, we had on Twitter as well, a week ago, I think it was, there was a documentary producer who was going to work with Lizzo. I think it was maybe a couple of years ago. And then I think she decided to step back because she had noticed a couple of things as well and was just like, no, I'm not into it type of thing, basically.
So when you first heard this, what was the immediate reaction? Because Lizzo is quite divisive, right? I mean, she
I think
promotes body image positivity, body positivity.
It's a mouthful.
She looks how she looks. All power. She does what she does. Yeah.
It was a breath of fresh air, I think, when she first came onto the scene because it was in a wave of, you know, like it resonates with people, right? And it's representation. In media and look,
and the song slap, right?
She throws out some bangers. Let me tell you.
That's the main thing.
But when the news first came out, I think there is that natural wave of, I guess, depending on where you live in the internet, people who are shocked. TikTok. But people who aren't surprised, people who said, you know, I felt this feeling for a while. Like, she throws this sense of, you know, like angry fat girl vibes, and she's not true. It's all a front, and et cetera, et cetera. It's pretty diverse, I guess, in the reactions. And I think.
What's your reaction? As a fan that's not a hyper Lizzo fan?
Not a hyper fan, but I love the songs, right?
But then what's your reaction? You went to... you're some level of a fan if you've paid money to see a concert, right? So how do you feel knowing that, again, innocent until proven guilty? We've just got to say that, right?
I always go with innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
But that's not to...
The only thing I'll say is, where there's smoke, there's fire. There just seems to be so many of this.
Let me just add to that point where I said innocent until proven guilty. However, that's not downplaying the actions and statements of the victims.
Yeah.
It is just a matter of, we are in a she said, they said type of thing at the moment until they hash it out in court, I guess.
Yeah.
And find that evidence. It is a bit... what's the word I want to say here? I guess it's disarming and a bit disappointing that, you know, I guess these stories do come out, considering, I guess, the stature of the of Lizzo, what she stands for, what she represents. So there is that natural, like, ooh, this doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
This doesn't feel good at all. But
Yeah.
we don't know, right? We don't know what's
I know
going
what you're
on.
saying. I think again, she's divisive at the best of times. She like in your face in terms of what her messages she
Yes,
pushes,
yes.
which is fine. By the way, that there's nothing wrong.
Confidence, right?
Lot of people have done that.
There's a lot as well. There's the subtext, right, in, I guess, society where, I will say this from a gender point of view, where women will often get penalized for being a bit outright outspoken and whatnot versus men. I will say that.
Yep. I think the thing that just didn't align very well is accusing her of sexual harassment. I don't want to talk specifically about that element.
Yeah.
Creating a toxic work environment. You know, the entertainment business
Is
pretty
pretty
toxic.
toxic.
I'm not advocating that, like, you know, that you should know what you're getting into. That's another thing. But the body shaming. Her dancers are plus size dancers, right? Like
Yeah.
that's not the aesthetic. What, like, that's her, right? Like
Body
yeah,
positivity, inclusiveness.
So that when I heard about that specifically,
Yeah,
that
it really
just
got you away.
Like, how can you go down that narrative when your image is all and that's the disalignment, when your image is all that and the things that they're talking about is basically. I think a lot of things can be taken out of context. So going in down the rabbit hole a bit more
What a plug.
and reading, listening rather, about it, it seemed that she was questioning the commitment of these dancers, of which the weight and all that stuff seemed to somehow flow in. But yeah, just a weird one, because it's a weird way of verbalizing it, but it just seemed off brand, right?
And I think what, again, going from what I was reading about it, the idea is that one of the dancers had gained weight.
Yeah.
And it was a question about, I guess, their performance and ability to perform.
Yeah. So there's nuance in it, right? But
Yeah.
like,
It's a bit,
optically,
you're right, it is off-brand, because it's, again, how do you make the workplace safe for people to be able to, do their work, get paid and whatnot,
Yeah.
in exchange for their services and their ability. It does, if allegations are proven to be correct, it's not a good look.
Yeah. No, the thing is, optically, even if there are nuances within it, which it appears to be. So funnily enough, I've seen a lot of the three main girls, like the three main dancers rather, that are
Former dancers, yeah.
former dancers that are in contention, and it seems like a lot of the narrative is basically not pushing, but highlighting how underpaid that they are and how worthless they were meant to feel. Which, again, like, it's quite nuanced. Is a wider problem in that industry anyway, right?
Yes,
But it
yes.
seemed like we tied in Lizzo, the body shaming, the sexual harassment, or that whole toxic environment into it. It felt like a easier way to have that conversation, when maybe some elements of it, again, it's hard because you're not advocating of it, but we know that Hollywood is not like that industry is hard to crack in. It just, there are elements of that are rife there, right? But tell me this, do you think her reputation can recover from this?
Ooh, where's the PR team when you need them?
Chang Media has a PR division. Just letting you know. Selwyn Cobo, hit us up.
That's a loaded question,
Is it
right?
though?
I think she can.
We know the answer. It's yes.
Look, no, but hold on. Wait a minute. Unbelievable leading the witness here. Yes, but it will probably take some time. I guess it just depends on how it all plays out.
What do you mean? Like how the
proceedings,
legal proceedings play out? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because what you mentioned there about, I guess, the key statements and how they've pulled it all in, it's very much it's tough as it is if it's just a lawsuit, right? If you get slapped a lawsuit, but the fact that the media, including us, will put well, we're different, guys. We're trying to do the reasonable, like we're down the rabbit hole, but we're seeing the context of everything, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do here. But media as a whole will pigeonhole in those specific kind of
sensationalize it, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Where it's easy to just slap on like one statement with a negative tone or sentiment, and then that kind of sways public opinion, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be probably the biggest hurdle to get around. I think when the news broke out, she's already lost, like, this, the usual stuff that happens when drama on the internet happens. Loss of 200K followers on Instagram.
Oh, so that, like, they're reporting that?
Yeah. Loss of 200K followers on Instagram. Seeing who's on whose side in regards to this through support on Instagram, on Twitter.
Hey man, social media had a field day with this one.
That's
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
She's already contentious to begin with.
I wouldn't say, like, I'll even challenge that, right? That, like, saying contentious, like, it's and divisive, like, that throws off negative tones already.
It is. Unfortunately, it is.
But I don't think that's the right way to, in the context of, it's a bit iffy.
There's an aggression. Okay, look, this is my viewpoint, right? Which is inevitably like a male, not really into that sort of music as well. Maybe being quite honest, not as empathetic to that cause, which is not a good thing. Just letting
Which is good if you're aware.
Yeah. But from my view, her message, the optics of her package is very aggressive. I don't know why I get Azalea Banks vibes, which is not. I know it's very not the same.
No,
but
I get you.
But you know what I mean? It's.
But that's no different to like Little Kim back in the day. That's no different to Salt and Pepper back in the day. Like that's it's.
I'm not saying that's good, by the way.
It's a different decade, but same thing.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not saying that's good. That's what I'm saying.
What do you mean? What are you saying is not good?
I'm saying it's off-putting. Like that.
Just because it doesn't fit to your standard and your view and your worldview.
For me, it is. Like every consumer has their own like framework that they judge it by. For me, it is. Of course, it is. So again, I'm not her target market, am I not? Like I'm not paying.
Yeah, but that shouldn't also excuse. I think if I'm going to a greater piece, right, and I think.
Unbelievable.
We're doing it down the rabbit hole in society. We live in a society, guys.
Hijack my podcast.
I think no, but this is important conversations to have, right?
Yeah.
I just think that. Just because it's not your cup of tea means you got to put a negative light on it already because you don't understand the nuance, the motivation, the framework behind it.
We're having a conversation about nuance here. All I'm saying is that, like, because optically, and this is how I feel. How I feel is just one me. It's not like
it is about how you then come out with
it, right? It's not representative of it. But I guess what I'm saying is like. It just makes her easy to attack.
Which again goes to my original point about women being easy to attack.
So let's talk about this specifically, right? Because we've had this conversation pertaining to different artists. So now this has happened.
I feel like now you're jumping into a different piece of conversation. I don't want to drop the other one. Let's be clear.
My boy, Chris Brown. No, but the question is, can you separate the artist from the art? Because there's no doubt she's talented enough to keep hitting bangers out here. Let's say that the legal proceedings go one of two ways. One, they found out that these dancers are lying. I don't know, some level of it, right? Fabrication. And then if that's the case, everyone's like, oh, Lizzo, it was okay. Like, these guys were lying for it. This is not the first time, like, people have tried to shake up a celebrity, blah, 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 right? So that's one. And to that point, she'll probably recover. You know what I mean? Maybe there'll be elements of truth about how toxic the environment is.
If other guys can, then why can't she?
But she'll definitely create decent music, right? Like, she's still young. She's still, like, an artist. She'll still be able to drive that thing. Say it goes the other way where they find this is true. It drags out a little bit. There's a compensation, etc., etc. What do you think happens here? And let's play that out.
Yeah.
Lizzo comes to Australia in 3 years' time. Would you pay for a concert?
It depends on the next album she puts out.
So you've
No. I will say, and I will clarify that statement.
Yeah.
Genuinely, it depends on. Look, again, wait. What's the hypothetical here?
There's no hypothetical.
No. So you're saying that the legal proceedings play out. I need to know particular information.
There is an overarching statement, which is, can you separate the artist from the art? And I think people have shown time and time again that they can, and they have, and they will.
That was very poignantly put.
But we love celebrities. This idol exhibit at Elon, like some of the comments just make absolutely no logical sense.
No sense.
But that's not the point. The point is fandom does not make sense. It is not logical. It is emotional, right? So when about that time comes up on a Friday night and I've had a shit week and you know what, like I'm going to spend like my last $50 on alcohol and I'm going to go for a thing, that's emotive. That is independent of the fact that you did all that nasty stuff, right? That's in that point of consumption, that's how I think of it. And I think it sucks. I will say what it will if the legal proceedings do confirm what these women have said, it will affect her impact, like brand deals and all that sort of stuff, right? Like,
and to your point, it then becomes, I think we make a point constantly as public opinion as it's one public opinion. I think it's important to note that it's everyone has a choice, right? And to your point, from your viewpoint, from your values, like what do you actually deem, I guess, worthy to support, what aligns to your values, right?
Yeah.
To answer your original question, depending on how the proceedings go and what is proven to be true, that may well affect how I think about her moving forward.
Yeah.
Right? You can't refute the impact of the art prior to that. And this is where it gets a bit gray and murky, right?
Why can't you though? But
you can't be, and this is the other thing, right? It's not for or against, like it's not as black and white as things are seem, right? It's very gray, right? There is a couple of Chris Brown songs that I still love back from the time, but I refuse to support him now.
What to support him? You even if it's heyday, you wouldn't have paid to see a Chris Brown concert.
No, but as in,
like how do you define sport?
I probably won't even seek out his music now. And again, this is my choice.
Well, that's more to do with the fact that his music now is a bit. That's what I mean, though. That's actually what I mean. Like, the art almost often takes precedence over the artist, which is a weird one, right?
Which is again, but there's context, right, in time.
Of course.
The nuance I'm pointing out here is that I won't. To your point, some of the art is not great anymore, so it's not worth the listen.
That's also like a perspective thing, but numbers don't lie.
Exactly, perspective.
Yeah,
it's also context, right? I mean, probably best case example is Michael Jackson. Like that sense that, and that's probably the other component is time. Time is when, if you context, time will help heal things.
Time heals all wounds. And like that, we're out of time of this Lizzo stuff. I mean,
we could go on.
We could go on. TBD though. TBD. We'll see what the. I think it's next year though.
Oh, the
legal stuff.
The proceedings.
Yeah.
Well, it feels like there's other allegations coming out the window.
Let it all
as well.
come out. Let it all come out.
Also, I will say, like, who knows what could come of this, right? There was some tea spilt on Dumois.
What's Dumois? What's Dumois?
Gossip site.
Oh
you know how it is.
Oh,
gossip Instagram account who has their own kind of shaky allegations too.
Yep.
But somebody said, oh, you think it's bad that Lizzo was out here. There's all your other favorites are.
For sure.
And it's a systemic thing,
sure.
right? Potentially, allegedly, a systemic thing. So,
but to your point, and like I said, she's easy to attack. Like there must be
there's
some
power and status behind it all. There's the PR machine behind it all.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.